When you hear the term dither fish, what are the first species that come to mind? Personally, I immediately think of guppies and mollies, or really any life bearer, zebradanios, pencilfish, confident tetra and rasbora, as well as killifish and hatchetfish. Generally, I'd classify ditherfish as small to medium peaceful fish that are confident and active, and often school. They spend most of their time out in the open, inhabiting the top half of an aquarium. These ditherfish play a vital role in community aquariums. By swimming and schooling out in the open, they can reassure timid and shy fish. Their presence signals to others that the coast is clear and the environment is safe and free of predators and danger. This can give shy and skittish fish a well-needed boost of confidence, reducing their stress and enabling them to feel calm and secure, while being more active and outgoing. Ditherfish can also help disperse aggression between fish with a more spicy temperament. However, I prefer to stay away from these species and stick to more peaceful fish, so that won't be relevant to this video. But anyway, if you have some shy fish that almost always hide, and you'd like to see more of them, then a group of ditherfish could be the perfect solution. My only real shy fish are celestial pearl danios. They love to hide amongst the dense foliage and tend to only emerge from the plants when it's time to feed or spawn. It's a real shame, as they're beautiful little fish, and I'd enthusiastically show my friends and family this tank, only for them to stare for a few moments before asking, "Are there even any fish in here?" My god, how annoying. These little fish just love to show me up. So for a while, I contemplated adding some ditherfish. However, that thought fell to the wayside once the celestial pearl danios started to breed and I didn't want to rock the boat. Months later, when I added the first batch of fry to the tank dynamics completely changed. The confident fry coaxed out the original group and I saw a lot more of them. However, in the following weeks and months, I lost a couple of the original group, and sadly they all returned to the shy and skittish nature, taking refuge in the plants and hiding at the very back of the tank. It stayed this way for quite a while, but I was still finding a few eggs in my trap a couple of times a week, but it was never really more than 5 or 6, so it left quite a lot to be desired. Until about 2 weeks ago, where it all unintentionally changed. One evening, I was looking at my beloved panda cory fry tank and it just felt particularly overcrowded. So on a whim, I caught a bunch of them out, I think it was between 10 and 12, and I released them into the CPD tank without giving it much thought on how it may switch up the tank dynamic and alter the behaviour of the celestial pearl danios. The panda cories loved the extra space and they eagerly explored every nook and cranny of the tank. Their hustle and bustle immediately caught the attention of the CPDs and they emerged to see what was up and greet their new friends. They remained out and about for the rest of the evening, which I was really happy to see. However, I expected their newfound courage to deplete over the following days as the novelty of the cories slowly ran out. But I'm so glad I was wrong. It's now been 2 weeks since the cories edition and the CPDs are as confident as ever. I get to see them so much more and it's absolutely brilliant. See, up until now, I really never considered Corydoras as a ditherfish, as in my experience they almost always seem to be left out of the discussion regarding ditherfish in articles I read and videos I watched, and on the rare occasion they were included, they tended to be towards the bottom of a long list of different fish. Albeit my sample size isn't the greatest, so maybe I'm wrong, but I think these brilliant little fish deserve a bit more credit than they currently receive, as in my case they're not only a great peaceful community fish, but a top tier ditherfish and a supportive tank mate. Don't get me wrong, the CPDs still love the refuge of the plants and sometimes still hide, but nowhere near as much as they used to, and never all at once. There's always a handful of them visible, swimming in and out of the leaves, out in the open or by the sandbed with the cories. The tank appears to be filled with so much more life, there's always something going on and interesting to look at. It feels like a real big difference compared to the desolate ghost town it used to often look like. Another brilliant surprise is that I've seen a huge increase in the number of eggs I've collected since the cories' arrival. My last 2 batches of eggs have been in the realm of between 20 and 40 eggs, which is between 4 and 8 times more than the amount I was collecting in the past few months. This haul is much closer to the amount I was receiving back when I made their breeding video, but those large batches only lasted for a few weeks before dropping down significantly, so I'm curious to see if this pans out in the same way. This increase in eggs could be a total coincidence or a natural cycle of highs and lows, however it does make some sense logically. The fish are out and about a lot more and in greater numbers, so there are more time and opportunities to spawn. Also, the presence of the Corydoras proves that the area is safe and therefore an optimal time for breeding. This could cause the females to produce and lay more eggs than they had been previously. I really don't know if that's how the fish's biology works, but it does seem sensible in retrospect. If you're familiar with how this sort of thing works and you know all the ins and outs, I'd love for you to share it in the comments, as I'm always eager to learn and I'm sure many others are too. But regardless, I really hope the CPDs keep laying more eggs and the bountiful egg harvests keep rolling in, as raising fish is one of my absolute favourite parts of this hobby and it's unmatched in how fun and rewarding it is. I just wanted to make this video as a shout out to one of my absolute favourite fish, the panda Corydoras. I genuinely can't sing their praise enough. Pandas and other cories, in my opinion, are the most underrated dither fish and ought to be included in the dither fish discussions more often and with higher regard, so big up the Cory crew. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and if you agree with my statement. In your experience, are they as great as the dither fish as I've made them out to be, or do they already get the spotlight enough and I just haven't been around to witness it? I really hope you enjoyed this little video, and if you do want to see how I bred both the panda Corydoras and the celestial pearl danios, then the links are on screen now. Have a lovely day everyone, and hopefully I'll see you later fish friends.